Have you ever heard of a decision like this? Did you anticipate that India would suspend visas for Canadians wanting to come to our country? Do you think we've done the right thing from it?
Look, it's a temporary suspension, and it's partly, as the spokesperson said, a consequence of the need to change the administrative structure of how they handle visas. I think there's an additional reason, which the government will not state. They assume that they will face potential backlash from Khalistani groups in Canada, or ones who may come to foment problems. So they will try to tighten, and I think that's a standard operating procedure in something like this, tighten the scrutiny of visas being issued. I believe they're planning, for example, a lot of the OCI, PIO cards may be reviewed. These are for people of Indian origin, as you know, and are effectively just long-term visas because of this concern. So I don't think that's a surprise. As he said, the spokesperson said it's temporary. Canada, will Canada retaliate? Canada will ultimately, the Canadian High Commission, I suspect, was already at a 5-month backlog for visas in India. It was very difficult to get a visa of Canada just for administrative reasons. That will now obviously become even more difficult. Just entering the Canadian High Commission because of security reasons now is difficult. So therefore, yes, the visa...
No, but are they likely to respond by saying, you've suspended visas for our nationals, we'll do the same to yours?
Curiously enough, I don't think so. I don't think either government really wants to go down the path of a permanent breakage of these type of relations. There will be certain there will be a certain degree of signaling, shall we say, between the two sides. But fundamentally, there will be neither government really wants to escalate. In fact, Prime Minister Trudeau has made that very clear publicly. And if you talk to Indian officials, they say Canada is not really a threat or an enemy of India. What we do have is a specific problem, which is that this specific government of Canada, they did not have this problem with the Harper government beforehand. In their view, is not responding, has not responded to Indian concerns about Khalistan extremists. And keep in mind that while there has been references only to about the rhetoric and the language being used, that's not the real issue. The real issue is very straightforward. There have been at least 3 to 5 terrorist attacks in Punjab since 2016 in India. And these are not just defacing of temples and stuff. These are actual attacks on police stations and so on, where people have died, or at least attempts have been made to kill people. Intelligence agencies don't care about temples being defaced. That's not important to them. And almost 3/4 of them have a link to Canada. And they have found it very difficult to get should we say, a proactive response from the Canadian government on these issues.
I want to go across to Jagtar Singh, who's tracked Punjab politics, the Khalistan movement for very long. Mr. Singh, welcome. How is this playing out, in your view, in Punjabi society, across the length of Punjab, in India? As people watch this story, how do you think they're processing it?
One sentiment, Rahul, is coming up that this situation has come up close to Lok Sabha election 2024. Is this situation has anything to do with the narrative that is being shaped up? That is the basic issue. Khalistan issue has been there since decades in Punjab. In the armed struggle that started way back in 1980 and continued in 93, about 35,000 people have died, including a prime minister, a chief minister, and a retired army chief. So this is the background of Khalistan movement. It phased out, it never ended. Roots of what is happening in Canada are in this part of Punjab. You have to tackle the basic issues to checkmate what's happening in Canada. Canada is just an offshoot of the basic issues that
no, but the fact, Jagtarji, is
in this part of Punjab.
That apart from the embers of the Khalistan movement, for all practical purposes, the movement is dead and gone. There is no separatist, active, secessionist movement in Punjab in the way that there was in the 80s and the 90s. That's now in the past. So this is really just trying to flog a dead horse.
Exactly. Let me explain. It was never a movement in the democratic domain. The only two expressions in democratic domain of this movement were 1989 Lok Sabha election, when Sivaji Singh Man and 5 of his associates were elected with a thumping margin. 2. Election boycott of February 1992 was again a reflection of the mass support of the struggle at that time. It died down, it phased out. It never died down. You can't kill an idea with a bullet. That is the issue. Idea can only be killed at the political level. Political level ideas must come from the ruling people. I agree with you. There is no movement as such, but the idea is there and the sentiment is there. Both things you have to understand in the context of Punjab. Why was the even peaceful democratic farmer struggle was dubbed as Khalistani struggle by the right wing? Why this issue should crop up time and again? Why should a cricketer be labeled as Khalistani? Somebody has to give the answer. I don't. If even a cricketer is labeled as Khalistani, somebody has to explain at the top what is this happening. Why this behavior? Why Kisan struggle should be labeled as the Khalistani if there is no movement? You are contradicting yourself, Rahul.
Okay, while there were some ministers who labelled the movement as being funded by Khalistani, there were many others who clarified to say that that is not the government's view either.
India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% news that matters. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today TV. India's #1 political reporter.
Defines what seems to be happening, vendetta politics. कोई दूध के से धुला हुआ नहीं है.
Unmatched eye, unmatched experience.
The world has changed. My black hair has become grey as well.
And with unmatched passion for the story.
Do not monopolize the conversation.
When it's 100% news that matters. It's News Today with Rajdeep Sardesai. Monday to Friday, 9 p.m. Only on India Today TV.